Infrastructure sector is a critical driver of growth for the economy and can also largely address the unemployment crisis that the country is facing at present. So sectors like roads, railways, highways, power, they have been seeing incremental funding from the government over the last 4-5 years, and for the budget 2019 we expect that the momentum in these sectors especially continues, so that the economic crisis or the slowdown that the country is facing right now can be addressed to some extent. So for the road sector right now, the biggest problem that the industry could be facing is of funding. Banks are not willing to finance, and there is a dearth of long-term investment in the sector. So we are expecting some infusion in terms of some policy introduction that may come across for inviting long-term investors into the sector. Maybe it could be in the form of offering equity to long-term investors in highways projects. Apart from this, we were also expecting new and innovative ways of funding for infrastructure projects. Tax-free bonds for, let's say, NHAI could see a mention in the budget 2019. Right now for the shipping industry, it has somewhat stayed on the sidelines where there has been focus intermittently through, let's say, the Sagarmala program. Now going forward, just as how the roadways have seen a swift gathering of momentum in the last 5 years, shipping, that same momentum should be replicated in the shipping industry as well. So we will see some policy in terms of Make in India, encouraging shipbuilding in India. Also in terms of inland waterways, so the share of freight that is carried through waterways and coastal shipping in the country right now, the government looks to double it over the coming few years. So we can see some policies or fund infusion for that matter to help achieve that target. Apart from this, we're also looking at a big thrust to cruise tourism. Cruise on Ganga is another thing which is on the top of the priority list of the government. The capex allocation of the Indian Railways has increased almost 4 times over the last 4-5 budgets, and this year we expect the same momentum again. Now, with respect to railways right now, the biggest point of discussion in the industry is corporatization of railways. Now, this could come in terms of allowing private sector to come and operate passenger-facing services for that matter. So, allowing private sector to operate passenger trains is one thing on the anvil. We're also looking at corporatization of the rolling stock units of the Indian Railways, so that this helps in bringing new technology. They are able to participate in global tenders for that matter. The interim budget announced that the government has done away with all unmanned level crossings, which is a big step in terms of safety when it comes to the Indian Railways, and that always remains a pain point for the transporter. So now in the upcoming budget we could see an announcement on removing or doing away with all the manned level crossings of the Indian Railways. Coming to fares, the Indian Railways is planning to come up with a give it up scheme where it will encourage passengers to give up their subsidy on train traveling. So because the subsidy on train tickets is a huge social obligation cost for the Indian Railways, and it definitely negatively impacts their operating ratio. So give it up subsidy, just like the government did it for the Ujjwala scheme.